Hey there. So we'll continue on the scene. As you can see here, I have already made like a little more stuff to kind of just populate the diorama, and it's done with the same techniques that we have been through earlier in the tutorials. So for this section, I'll just make in another chair, um, just so you can see the process, and it's gonna be largely the same. Um, just treat it like a overall revision exercise, if you will. So let me just begin on this and just see what we can do with the chair. So same thing, we just make like a layer and just kind of shape it accordingly. I'm just gonna try seeing what I can do here. Maybe something like this. Bevel the edges a bit more just to make it like nice and comfortable to sit on. Okay, kind of got the cushion down, and maybe I'll make a new layer. I'll scope into this mesh and make a new layer. And I kind of want to do the like the little indent that we have in the chair. So there are a couple of ways around this. One way is to use like clay brush and subtract the shape, or you can use like the warp tool to do the same effect. So I'm just gonna try something with the clay brush in the subtraction mode to see kind of results we can get over here. Although it's a bit hard to control like how much I want to cut it into, maybe I'll use this one instead. Maybe something like this. And I can just scope in, hit S. I mean hit shift. Just kind of just smooth out some of the parts over here. Lower the strength in the thing, and holding down shift again, we just let you just kind of use the smooth tool. Yep, something like this for me. Okay, so the next part would be the chair's legs. In this case, you can either choose to reuse the leg that you have done beforehand, or you can choose to make another one and just make another instance of it if you would want to change the design of it. So for my case, let me just make a linked instance and just put it onto the chair itself, just to save some time. And okay, here's the fun part about the rotate tool that we haven't gone through yet. If you were to click on these two legs and you hold down Control and click on the ring in the correct axis, you can actually enable the incremental snap option. So you snap in smaller increments instead of the 90 degrees one that we saw earlier in the videos. And you can use this to just kind of fine tune the angle of how much the tilt should be for the legs. That's kind of a bit too much, and I'll just like fine tune it just by moving really slowly like this, and just manually adjusting the positions of the legs. And for the rear legs, I want to do something a bit different. What I'll do is, let me see, let's do this. Scope out, make a new, probably I'll scope into this portion. Scope into this part, maybe not. Scope into the legs itself, makes more sense. Turn on the mirror settings. Okay, not the right move. Scope out, scope into this instead. Yeah, makes more sense to have the under section of the chair to be like the main group instead. So I would kind of do this. This is what I have in mind. I'll taper the chair, flip it around, bevel it slightly, round it off, and give it a bit more volume this in this manner. Let's check the angles a bit here and there. Oh, it's a bit different. Do this, I'll just raise the height of it. So there are many ways to build this particular type of chair, and in no means this is the only way. So feel free to experiment with whatever you can come up with, and yeah, just put it in the comments below and let everyone have a look and see what's the solution that each individual has. It'll be pretty cool. Just totally fussing over this thing now. Let me just kind of get it roughly like this. Okay, so for time's sake, I'm just gonna add like the backrest. Swap into this, make a new layer, and yeah, I think symmetry should be on already. And I would just kind of do this. And it this way instead. Yeah, something like this. It's nice. Spread it out a bit more. Okay. And if you want to kind of do a bit more like details on it, like what we can do is just use the warp tool and set the hardness to 0 and the strength to minimal. Scope in, use the manipulator instead. It's easier to control. And just kind of give it like a nudge in that direction to the back. So you can get a bit of an arc, you can see. Or you can use like what I mentioned earlier in the tutorial to maybe use another tool to just like cut into it. Make the brush bigger, make it more natural looking. Alright, this seems pretty okay. And I'll just fine tune like the positioning of it just to make it slightly more ergonomic for our virtual people. And you can maybe just like, we can just scope in here and add a bit of like the connection details, if you will. Something simple will do. Scope in and this. we add a bit of like detail for subtraction like this. Yeah, so it looks sort of convincing that it's mounted this way, and we can use the just like move it slightly to the front so that it doesn't show, or you can use the clay subtract to just erase into this portion. Either way works. Right. So we have one more chair to put over here. So same thing like the table, we're just gonna select all of the objects and make a group. This is now grouped, and the axis is slightly off because of some of the way the objects are oriented. And I really wish like the program had a way to just reset it to 90 degrees. Maybe it'll be fixed down the road. But for now, I'm just gonna have to do with this little quirk of it. Make an instance, Control D. So I just move it to the table. So I have a little workaround for this axis not being vertically aligned. I turned on grid snapping, and what I'll do is I hit Control D first to make a duplicate, move it out to the side, and I'm just gonna force it to point correctly by hitting R for reset, and I'll just like hit Control left click to just orient it in the right direction like this. So the downside to this solution is I can't do the individual increments like the one that you saw. So if I were to turn off grid snapping, the axis goes back to the wrong inverted commas one. And I would have to just kind of manually tune it by hand, either in the desktop mode or VR. So yeah, I'll just leave it like this for now. And if any of you do kind of find out like what the solution is, you can just like drop it in the comments below. And yeah, this is kind of our scene, and we'll move on to adding props on the table.